Ajax, we're experimenting with one of the most famous youth academies in the world today and releasing all their top talents to the free agency. Whether they become world-class generational ballers or flop harder than Alen Halilovic, at the end of simulating 10 seasons into the future, we'll sign them up into one ex-Ajax super team to see how they perform together and if they can win the Champions League. And thanks to that critical youth development board expectation, they're just the perfect club to do this with. You guys have absolutely been frothing for this series to return in FIFA 23, and here we are. Just to increase the pool of talents we're tracking, I usually delve into the fictional youth academy to see what stars we could promote, call them up and release them too, but I think we have enough depth and talent in this actual Ajax real life team that doing that will probably become overkill because we've got enough players here to entertain us. Now on with the video, let the releasing commence as we're about to give these youth talents the reality check of their lives. We actually just might break the record of how many players we'll be keeping on our radar throughout the years, but if you're wondering what qualifies, basically they've got to be under 21. Any talents that came up through their prestigious youth academy, they'll be getting the sack. And thanks to PC mods, of course, we could release however many players we want for free. It's sad to see them go, but it must be done. They'll be carrying on their careers elsewhere, on the hunt for a brand new home in the free agency. It's an administrational nightmare. Somebody's got to do it. The show must go on. There are some high-profile WONDERKIDs on this list too, like Brian Brobby, Mo Durrami, who I just signed in a rebuild and was absolutely scintillating. And of course, the big money man who just made a major move to the Gunners. He's going down. I'm yelling timber. And look at what we've left them with. 18 players. The club will never be the same again. Their talent factory has just been wiped. And in terms of their fictional youth academy stars, yeah, there's no one really too interesting to call up besides Iki Leo. With 73 to 94 potential, can play at left wing, right mid, centre mid. At 16 is extremely versatile. Slapped him on an inverted winger development plan. We'll keep tabs on him to see how he progresses, but I plan to release him come season 2. Now here's the official list and the batch that we've let out into the wild, all in the free agency, and the official number is 18 players, all back to being unemployed or free agents. A lot of hot prospects and players that are desperate to make their name on the European scene, get themselves out there, put their name on the map. Let's see how they react, what clubs they end up at, and how their careers are impacted by this come season 1. The Johan Cruyff Arena hasn't been hit with a harder bombshell in its entire history. Here is how the releasee is looking at the end of season 1, and by the looks of things at first glance, this could be the most successful academy releasing video we've ever done. First up, it's the left winger slash striker Jaden Bannell, who's found a new home in Serie C. Yeah, Pescara. We've got a brand new mod installed where it basically gives us access to so many other European leagues, not in FIFA. That's helped us out here as the Dutchman will be playing in the 3rd tier of Italian football. They've installed the 570k release clause in his contract, so that might play a part in his next club, as Francisco Conceição has now ended up at FC Mainz over in the Bundesliga. Definitely one to look out for in a team that'll suit his playing style, and again another one of these cases of a release clause being installed. £36.1 million for the Portuguese right winger, and Brian Brobby is going to be a starting striker up top for Nottingham Forest in the Prem. Talk about a major leap. Now playing in England, £20 million valuation. What a steal for Nottingham. And next up on the plate is Mo Durrami, the Danish left-sided winger, 21, again in another promising league where he can grow and fully express himself. Signing for RB Leipzig on a free. Christian Rasmussen has taken the plunge to the MLS. The Danish hitman ready to launch his career at Toronto FC. The Canadian outfit signing him for free, and Nasi Univar, I think that's a Polish club. It's the first team I haven't recognized. Piast Gliwice. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below, as the exciting Turkish talent takes his skills elsewhere. So we have the only 2 players that have failed to find a club in 12 months, and that is the Icelandic cam, Christian Hillianson. He's got the flair trait, 64 overall, some decent attributes in there, but no one has showed their interest in the 475,000k man. And with the exact same market value, it's the Ajax youth product Silvano Vos, the ball-playing CDM slash centre mid. He's just an all-rounder, and unfortunately is yet to find a home. And the success stories don't stop here. The centre mid, Kian Fitzjim, at 19, he grabs the number 7 for Atletico Tucumán. I believe that's a team out in South America. That's what happens when we've added all these different kind of leagues and nations into the game. You're going to see the most obscure transfers ever, as Kenneth Taylor has now moved to Colombia, I believe, to America Football Club. That's a signing out of left field. I don't know how they've managed to coop that one up. Next up, kickers Les Offenbach have somehow pulled off Oliver Ajertsen, the Dutch centre-back at 18 years of age. The sky's the limit for this kid, could potentially be the next elite, and they're already holding him hostage as they're classifying him as a player too important for the club to sell. They're a 4th tier German side. Yeah, we've got the 4th division of Germany in the game. As next up, Yuri Bas, a utility left back / right back at 20, has made the switch to 3rd tier German side 1860 München, and Minnesota United, another major steal from these MLS clubs. They've capitalized on the opportunity to sign Yorel Hato on a free, the 17-year-old who can play on the left side as a left-sided centre back. Moving on to the Turkish injury-prone centre back Kaplan. Hopefully the plan isn't to be spending much time on the medical table, as Swedish giants IFK Gothenburg have picked him up, and at 6'2", he is an absolute giant as the MLS continue to prevail with their free agent pickups, because both Yuri Riga and Salaradin have moved to America, with the latter, the ultimate utility man, linking up with Messi at Inter Miami. He is just an absolute hidden gem weapon. Divian Wrench, another one of these versatile fullbacks. It's like Ajax have got this position on lock. He is signed on the dotted line for Brazilian club Coritiba. High profile move out of them all is of course Jurrien Timber. Instead of joining Arteta's project in North London, Diego Simeone wants him to be the next defensive rock at Atletico Madrid, and the Spaniards have implemented a juicy release clause in there, £115.9 million. Now plays his football in La Liga, and I just can't believe it. 16 out of 18 of the players have found a brand new club. FIFA is now finally starting to make sense a little bit. Now we have all that sorted, all the moves and transfers covered. It's an exhilarating start to this academy release and experiment with Ajax, and they're coming through with even some fictional ballers, and I think it's time for Leo. The Finnish sensation is ready to be released. Now his potential has rocketed into that range of 87 to 93. Now got 5-star weak foot, 63 overall, as he has the privilege of becoming the only fictional talent participating in this video. He might be unemployed and a free agent for the first time in his career, but the lad ain't finished. He's only 16.
He's finished, isn't he?
He's not finished. He's only 28.
No, not finished. He's from Finland.
It's the end of Season 2. We got some new updates to report on, because now I can officially announce that everyone in this list has a club, including Eki Leo, the fictional baller who we released, and it's yet another Italian 3rd tier club, Foggia in Serie C, now up to 68 overall with bucket loads of potential, and of course they've installed a release clause, willing to make as much profit as possible, £7.9 million, so expect to move soon, as both those two free agents from Season 1 have signed brand new professional contracts, as Christian Hillianson, the Icelandic 20-year-old, transferring to Kalmar FF over in Sweden. An interesting move for the flair-heavy Icelandic playmaker, and our boy Silvano Voss has ventured down under. Yeah, that's right, he has joined the A-League over in Australia, and the Reds Adelaide United have lured him over. Technically, he's the worst rated player on this list, but that move to Australia is going to do wonders for his growth and development, as no other major money transfers. It's just an Ajax thing. These WONDERKIDs are free agents no more, and are now free in a sense to showcase their skills on the world stage. Whilst on the surface, as we take a deeper look into the teams that the WONDERKIDs are moving to, FC Mainz seem to be giving Conceição the bench treatment, sticking him in the reserves. However, once we touch base with the season stats, that is no longer the case, because he was one of their top goal scorers at the club, the Portuguese looking to be like that next generational talent after Cristiano Ronaldo in the Portuguese national team. And over in the Bundesliga, he's netted himself 16 goals, 21 assists, double figures in both categories. He's absolutely flying. I'm certain there's some sharks swimming around this kid. A big European move is imminent. His release clause has risen to 72.2 million. Now the same can't be said for Brian Brobby at Forest in the Premier League. They have got a 49-man roster. I'd be extremely surprised if he found any game time at the club whatsoever, and he is not even competing, begging for a loan move away, as he had no game time whatsoever. The definition of being benched the entire season. His experience in the harsh treatment over in England, I'm sure he's crying out for some minutes. And really, deep down, you've got to feel sorry for the kid. Valued at £33.5 million, he deserves better. You'd have every right to think that Jurrien Timber is one of the super centerpieces here at Atletico Madrid in the defensive unit, and in that 5 at the back formation, he fits in like a glove. Racking up a total of 49 appearances, pretty much playing every single game of the campaign with 12 clean sheets, 1 goal and 2 assists from the back. We'll be continuing to follow these Ajax WONDERKIDS careers with great interest. We'll be lurking in the background and tracking every single move, as Toulouse had a loan deal rejected for Mo Durami. Other than that, everyone has stayed loyal as we transition over into Season 3. With Season 3 now done and dusted, we've got some interesting transfers to cover here because Mo Durami has actually been sent out on loan to Portugal as Pacos de Ferreira picked him up for the season. We had PSG on the hunt to find their next Xavi Simons replacement because Kian Fitzjim has signed a permanent deal in Paris. He rejected Barcelona too. Some of Europe's heavyweights are out to pick up these Ajax products. They are well aware that these boys could become the next big thing, as Oliver Ajertsen, AC Milan have engaged to buy low and sell high. They've captured the 20-year-old Dutchman's services. Another interesting move I didn't see coming. As Atletico Madrid under Simeone, we all know their defensive play style, and they're serious. Not only acquiring Timber on a free, but bringing in the Turkish Kaplan. He's impressed and has now made the big move to Spain to link up with his former teammate. They would be sat there together at the Wanda Metropolitano thinking, who would have thought? And last but certainly not least, it is Yuri Riga, the well-balanced Dutch all-rounder who can play at right back and centre mid at 21, makes the move to Man City as he rejected a loan spell out to Millwall in the process, which probably would have helped him get some game time, but each to their own. With 3 WONDERKIDS now comfortably entering the 80s overalls range, and 3 are on the cusp of breaking through. Divine Wrench, who sounds more like a luxury plumbing tool than a footballer, but he's still kicking it out in Brazil. As predicted, the defensive competition here for Kaplan is absolutely immense. He's only been gifted a prospect role and therefore has received no game time whatsoever. He's still got a lot to prove, and he's promising in comparison to his ex-Ajax compatriot Timber, who from the back is proven to be a playmaking defender with 1 goal and 10 assists. I've never seen anything like it. 11 goal contributions from centre back is unheard of. He's unmatched, and he's proven to be a force to be reckoned with. I'm still taken aback finding out that Mines have kept Conceição on their books for another season, as he becomes their best player on the roster at 22. He's unhappy with his game time, and this season compared to the last, he has just been benched the entire time, and this is where the career mode AI stupidity starts to kick in. I don't understand it, I'll never understand it, and that has just been a campaign gone to waste, thrown out the window. Man's gotten himself the Brobby treatment. You'd think he'd slot perfectly there at right wing, but it seems like the assistant manager has a hard-on on deploying a right wing back in that spot, and the tale of the tape over here in Nottingham has any fortunes changed for Brian Brobby whatsoever, as there still is only 3 strikers at the club, so surely we would have got some game time, but no. Welsh superstar Brennan Johnson has taken over the strike duties alongside Awoniyi up top. It has been back-to-back seasons of donuts all across the board for Brian, and the man needs an exit plan ASAP if he ever wants to set foot onto a football pitch ever again. It's taken 4 seasons, but finally some money is starting to be splashed on these Ajax talents, and Brian Brobby has finally escaped from the clutches of Nottingham Forest. Forget Harry Kane, because Bayern Munich have poached the Dutch target man for £39.1 million. Is this going to be a place where he's going to get some premium game time? Only time will tell, but they managed to snag him under his market value. And another major mover in January, it's Kenneth Taylor, who's been balling out in Brazil for some time now. He's getting his first taste of Premier League action at 23. Wolves purchasing him for £32.5 million. I was starting to get worried because he was ready for a big move for a while. And last but certainly not least, Divine Wrench has also escaped South America as Borussia Dortmund acquire his talents in the winter for an undisclosed fee. He's off to Germany. And some more low-key minor deals to end out the season. We had Christian Rasmussen, again another big profile move to Italy as Juventus pick up the Dane. 2 boys out on loan. Ajertsen moved to Darmstadt over in Germany for a 1-season spell, and Herenveen picked up Yuri Riga from Man City, enjoying the Dutchman's services on a temporary basis as our boy Silvano Vos has made the jump from the A-League all the way to Spain. Sevilla purchased him from Adelaide United, and he now has a release clause in his contract for $20.4 million. I don't know what it is with these Spanish clubs and release clauses. They just froth over them, as Kian Fitzjim had a loan spell out to Getafe, rejected by PSG, which just doesn't make any sense. Jurien Timber is clear on top of the pack with an 88 rated world-class rating. How has no top 5 European league taken the chance on Nasser Univar? He is ready to explode on the big stage. With all those traits and that ability, I feel like it's getting wasted out here. You hate to see it, you really do, but after Wolves spent all that that money on Kenny Taylor. They've given the midfielder the silent treatment with 0 appearances. It's just the Premier League being harsh on these Ajax Wonderkids. Just like Brobby, he hasn't seen the light of day. And Brian Brobby's return to Germany has been underwhelming to say the least, because it has been 3, that's right, yep, 3 seasons in a row where the man has not played a single minute of football. I'm surprised the man hasn't just given up already, because he's losing out to Ezequiel Avila, a 32-year-old Argentine. Give up or force a loan move out like Matthias Tell's done. It ain't easy out here in these German or English streets as we move on over to Mainz, and we all know the Conceição situation. 83 rated, crucial first team player, and he's only managed 7 appearances, probably in and off the bench, which I don't know how he hasn't submitted a transfer request at this rate. Apparently a crucial first team player is happy with 7 appearances in and off the bench. Yeah, make it make sense. And now they've had the audacity to install an £152.9 million release clause. Now, is Atletico Madrid going to deliver us any news to be hopeful about? These youth talents have just been copying L after L, and in the defensive department, Jurrien Timber never ceases to amaze. Because in 54 appearances at the back, he has gotten himself 4 goals and 6 assists, 10 goal contributions, which is pretty similar to last time out. Meanwhile, on the opposite end of the spectrum, Kaplan hasn't had a sniff. With season 5 now done, fresh off the press, we have a couple of journeymen that are starting to establish in themselves, like Oliver Alertson, who's just been loaned out to a Eredivisie club, Walwick, as the 24-year-old wingback Yuri Baskets picked up by Chelsea on an undisclosed fee, and another substantial move. It's actually his first one since he was signed up from the free agency, and that's Ural Hato moving back to Europe as Porto take a hold of the 21-year-old, as Kaplan has finally escaped from Atletico Madrid. Let's hope the injury-prone 24-year-old can start getting some consistent game time at Watford, but a talent that has just had some exponential growth over in Serie C is Eki Leo, the Finnish fictional youth star with now an £100 million release clause in his contract. When are the big clubs going to pounce on this guy? I don't understand how the King alone hasn't gotten this club promoted. There's your answer. They're in Serie B thanks to the Finnish marvel, and the kind of numbers he's putting up in the second tier, it's already a bad sign because the formation doesn't suit his position, but clearly they've had to give him game time, and nevertheless the kid prevails with 19 goals and 8 assists at only 20 years of age. The sky is the limit. This guy's got Ballon d'Or potential written all over him. You'd love to see our Portuguese boy Conceição force the issue and just get some well-earned game time here, being the best player at the club still by a long stretch as well, and this is just absolutely diabolical. 8 appearances and 1 assist, most likely all in off the bench. This is not how you're supposed to treat a star boy. Mainz need to sell this guy immediately, otherwise they can't get away with this. It's the same deal with Brobby. The boys in Germany just can't seem to catch a break at the moment, and is he going to continue his streak of 4 years straight without playing? No, thankfully he actually makes an appearance on the pitch with 9 appearances and 2 goals for all his efforts. The main striker of the team continues to be Ezequiel Avila at 33 years of age. Whatever Thomas Tuchel is cooking here, I'm not buying it. It's the no dynamic potential which is the real kicker as we take a look. Finally, our last man we have to check in on, Kenneth Taylor, who is literally one of the top 5 players over here at Wolves. And is he getting any game time? Okay, it's an improvement from last time out. This time, 21 appearances, 1 goal and 3 assists for Wolverhampton. That's progress. He's still unhappy, so you know what? I'm going to go rogue with it. A bit of third-party intervention. We'll add him to the transfer list. We're just over halfway, simmed to June 2028, Season 6. Here's what we have to report on for the Ajax Academy boys. We've got some loyal ones here. Must be something to do with these left wingers not wanting to leave clubs. Still, Nasi Univar is balling out, taking the walk to Poland, and Jaden Banel balling in Serie C with Pescara. The one and only loan spell on the list, and that's Yuri Riga. He rejected Rayo Vallecano for a 1-year deal to Stade de Reims over in France, and Silvano Vos going from Adelaide to Sevilla to now Bayern Munich. He's linking with his fellow countryman Brian Brobby, and that career path is just crazy. And no major money transfers to report on as Leo still stays loyal to Foggia, and that transfer listing of Kenneth Taylor didn't do much. Mr. Finland himself got relegated to Serie C, finished top, so they're promoted back up to the second tier. However, in a squad size of 18, he was guaranteed game time and was surely their top goal scorer. No, he wasn't actually. Only 5 goals and 6 assists. I assume that's got to be in and off the bench. The formation doesn't really suit him. He's doing what's needed to be done, and if he's getting deployed at a centre mid, like what? This assistant manager, this career mode AI, I'll never understand it. No one will. We can kill 2 birds with 1 milestone over here in Munich. And now Brobby, after all those years on the bench, has earned the starting spot in the first team. Him and Vossi out here killing it in Germany, and there you go. That's what happens when you put the 26-year-old on the pitch. He's going to find the back of the net. That Argentine striker must have retired or something, but there you go. The top goal scorer at the club with 20 goals and 4 assists. It has been worth every single penny. Meanwhile, Voss hasn't really participated too much. He's been gifted the Brobby treatment in his first season. It's like they've swapped roles. I am getting sick and tired, pretty much just absolutely fed up of Conceição being robbed of a career over here at Mainz. He somehow manages to grow a +1 overall with only 7 appearances, and he's getting 2 goals and 3 assists, 5 goal contributions with limited game time. We are witnessing an absolute career homicide unravel before our very eyes. Kenny, my man, what have you cooked up over here at Wolves? Have they finally started to respect him? And the answer is no. It's like Tame Impala out here. I feel like he's only going backwards. Okay, yeah, something's up here. He's only gotten himself 12 appearances, 2 goals and 1 assist. He might have picked up a long-term injury or just an injury-riddled season. I don't get it. The King's in his prime. My jaw is literally on the floor. Here in Lucky Season 7, there haven't really been too many lucky transfers going down. We've got one to report on here. Jorel Hato, after 1 year in Porto, has switched up to Germany with Borussia Mönchengladbach snatching him. He now has a £36 million release clause, as we have Silvano Voss, who actually had a loan spell out to Darmstadt, rejected. Yuri Riga is finally being sold, and there you go, another move to the Bundesliga as Wolfsburg pick him up. And another player being offloaded here, Kian Fitzjim from PSG, actually with a loan spell out to Monza in Italy. He's been a grower, not a shower. Behind the scenes, he has come through and now has reached the 80s. A quiet achiever in the mix, but for the rest of them, for the big boys in the 80s plus region, nothing much has really changed. They've all stayed at their clubs, stayed loyal, and you know, loyalty nowadays is hard to find in football and in life. I straight up just feel sorry for Kenny at this point, but what has he cooked up at England this year? Surely he's gotten his fair share of game time, now being the best and highest rated player at the club, and that's exactly what he got. Wolves are now starting to bear the fruits as the Dutchman with 24 assists and 4 goals from midfield. Sitting in that pivot position, he was the #1 playmaker at the club, 28 goal contributions, in his prime and thriving. It's scary hours out here in Munich. They've finally cracked the code to actually implementing peak Brian Brobby into their starting 11, and now, after his 20 goal haul last campaign, he has upped his numbers to 30. The production has hit a new high, and in 51 appearances, again he wins the Golden Boot and is the top goal scorer here at Bayern. Take some notes, minds. Get the pen and paper out, because you have just got no clue how to get the best out of your top ballers. With Francisco Conceição, his career could have been so much more. In the peak of his powers, in his prime years, he's been wasted away with only 5 appearances and 1 assist in and off the bench. I'm kicking and screaming. I am borderline about to throw up. We're in the home stretch now. It's the end game, people. Who's made the move? Who's switched teams? And Silvano Voss is out on loan again, this time over in France to Clermont Foot. Meanwhile, it's Oliver Assertson, who has officially left Milan and has accepted a transfer away to Belgium. Major developments here as Anas Salaradin has finally left the MLS. It's another Bundesliga club on the prowl. Wolfsburg attain his services. Another minor sale going down here. It's Kaplan now testing his skills out in the Premier League. This guy has journeyed all over. I'm starting to feel like a broken record now. It's the same old story with the top dogs. They haven't attracted any interest from any clubs across the world. It just doesn't make sense to me. Fitzjim's available on a free. His contract's expiring and he could go anywhere in season 9. On the other hand, it's Jaden Bannell becoming a club legend over there in Pescara. The Flying Dutchman now with a £99.9 million release clause. We are flying through these last couple of simulated seasons before we purchase them all back and make them reunite as one in their rightful home, because season 9 has dished up something special here. We've got Fitzjim, who's now accepted a transfer move away to Valencia. He's just sprouted out of nowhere, the now £35 million man. He's going to be an interesting talent to experiment with. Nasi Univar has pretty much played his entire career in Poland now. Respect to him. I don't know, maybe he just loves the lifestyle out there, because Yuri Bas has now been offloaded from Chelsea. Schalke were also in for him, but that move to Germany collapsed as Norwich City, the Canaries, get a go. A man of his talents, getting paid 8.5k a week. They are getting away with daylight robbery. It's their last season out here in the big smoke, globetrotting the world. Jurrien Timbers stayed faithful to Atletico Madrid in the process, becoming the top boy, not only besting that academy talent, but also the entire roster here in Spain. As from centre half again, the Dutchman has managed to put up some numbers. 4 goals and 5 assists from defense needs to be talked about. 9 goal contributions. We've let the lad cook over here with Diego Simeone, and what can I say? The mastermind's gotten the best out of his game. Someone who he arguably shouldn't have let cook is whoever's running the club here in Mainz, because they have single-handedly made Conceição a failed wonder kid performance-wise. There you have it. It's a little bit too little too late. With 34 appearances, he managed no goals but 14 assists. He was a playmaking winger, and after 1 season of getting fair treatment, he has turned out to be the best playmaker at the club. Oh, what could have been for this Portuguese sensation. Francisco, mate, you should have put a transfer request in. This wasn't my fault. Hopefully Wolves are going to start speaking some sense with their usage of Kenneth Taylor, one of their best midfield performers. Does he have any Premier League impact? And he does, but it's only 35 appearances, was clearly in the rotation, but not starting week in, week out. The 29-year-old coming through with 3 goals and 11 assists from centre mid. He had plenty of other competition, like a 37-year-old Mario Lemina. In 2031, whatever year we're in, and not starting Kenneth has costed them getting relegated, as Taylor's 14 goal contributions couldn't keep them alive. Now, Brobby and Mane up top are the perfect lethal combo. They complement each other so nicely. Youth, quality, and experience, because the top goal scorer, again, even though he's come through with less, 23 goals this time around, he's now starting to push 30. Brian Brobby netting 23 times and is the sole striker here at the Allianz Arena. All hail to Munich's new seasoned king. Here at Dortmund, especially for his first checkup of the video, a lot of pressure on the kid as he's now 28. He's been here since 2026. However, only 24 appearances and 1 goal to his name. Not really a first team starter, and cemented himself as a rotational option. Being the best right back at the club is no easy feat, and he just wasn't rewarded for it. I don't know, maybe he copped an injury, but enough is enough. Germany, you're doing us dirty. It's lucky last coming down to Fitch Jim, who's deemed worthy of having a little checkup. We're taking a cheeky visit to the south of Italy. Did the Dutchman manage to have an impact in Serie A? In his 43-man roster, he is the best midfielder at the club. He's actually one of the best players at the club. Unhappy with his game time, so we all know what that means. First the Germans, now not even the Italians can get it right with these ex-Ajax superstars. They bought him for all that money, and for what? For him to warm the bench in his prime at 27? Like, why did he even come here? Meanwhile, it's a 33-year-old Israeli midfielder stealing the limelight from him, and a failed Arsenal Academy wonder kid, René Adelaide, running the show. This one's a blast from the past. Bazoa, probably, arguably, one of the biggest FIFA failed wonder kids of all time. They've assembled just a ragtag group of players. Their recruitment has gotten them up into 7th. So who am I to question who they should be starting? I've made sure Ajax have stayed strapped, gifting ourselves the right finances available to purchase them all. As in season 10, they'll be signing up back to Ajax, where it all began. We'll be putting them all into one team to form the Ajax Academy Super Squad for a 1-season experiment in season 10. It's been a lengthy process, but we've successfully broken all rules of financial fair play to reunite all the Ajax Academy products and make the ultimate reunion. We've spent all summer buying them back. They are now officially returning to Ajax. With the team also qualified for the Champions League, you know they're going to enter into some elite competitions, and here is how they line up. We've given big boy Brobby the captaincy up front. He scored goals for fun at Bayern, and now we've converted Nasi Univar into a cam, so he perfectly slots into that 3-man midfield of Taylor and Fitzjim. The loyal one-club soldiers of Conceição and Leo start on the flanks. Defensive partnership of Kaplan and 90-rated Timber. Unfortunately, we didn't have a goalkeeper to track, so he's just makeshift at the back. Meanwhile, our bench consists of Rasmussen, Darami, Riga, Hillianson, Ayertsen, and Banel. Also, in addition, we have them applied on development plans, so they will be growing. We're getting some attribute boosts, a few skill moves and weak foot stars going up, because think about this, they've been 10 years away from the club, being put on balance the entire time. No dynamic potential. So now it's time to showcase not only what they can produce on the domestic level, but continentally, because this team is ready and roaring to go. The 10th and final season has actually gone down, and these boys won all the smoke. The ex-Ajax Youth Academy WONDERKIDS came through and finished invincible in the Eredivisie. Dutch champions with their eyes closed, 94 points on top of the table, and the Dutch Cup saw them win it out against bitter rivals PSV 2-0 to secure an inevitable Dutch double. Now, over in the Champions League is where they had the moment to secure the treble. Continentally, they made it out of the group, qualifying through with Porto getting 15 points. The Dutch starlets in their prime managed to surpass Bayern Munich in a second leg comeback, knocking them out of the round of 16. Brobby's former side in the quarterfinals got taught a lesson by PSG 6-3 on aggregate, and they lost out to the eventual champions, winning the whole thing against Madrid 3-1 in the final. It was a valiant effort, 2 pieces of silverware, and the generational talents were back at their rightful home. We take a look at some of the stats they were able to cook up together as one unit. It was the top goal scorer, the captain leading from the front. Ryan Brobby slotted through 27 goals, 4 assists. Gonçalves Sau with double figures in both departments, just like 4 other players, but this man was on a mission. After being treated like dirt at Mainz, he was freed from the shackles and let loose with 46 goal contributions in 48 appearances. The numbers this kid has put up are absolutely spellbinding. Leo, the Finnish god himself, not even in his prime, but he still managed to score 24 goals and 12 and 10 for Taylor in the pivot midfield position, and the newly converted Cam Nassi Unuvar thrived as a playmaker. Bitch Jim was also surprising in the middle of the park in the control room with 6 goals and 5. Rasmussen off the bench with 5 goals, and Urian Timber from the back continuing his defensive playmaker days from Atletico with 10 goal contributions. Yeah, kind of crazy these guys. This is the first time we've tested out this format, so let me know down below if you like this, reuniting segment at the end. Let me know WRL in the comments. 2 out of 3 trophies were retained, and on another day, in another year, that could have well and truly been the treble. Who are your favourite Wonder Kids? Who did you expect more out of? Who flopped for you? And whose careers were ruined by the career mode AI? That miracle UCL semi-final run of 2019 couldn't be replicated by these lot, but it is what it is. We released Ajax's entire youth academy in career mode, and the rest was history. If you went on to enjoy and made it this far, make sure leave me a like down below, hit subscribe, turn on the notifications so you never miss out on any content coming to the channel. Follow me on all my socials, links are down in the description below, and if you have time, feel free to check out another one of the videos on the channel. As always, I've been Sir BCHD. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the very next video.